All right, guys, we're going to do number 3 from tonight's homework because it is the most difficult one, and I think a lot of people are going to have trouble with it. So if you're good with this one, then number 2 should seem a lot easier. The first thing I'm going to do is label my axes. I'm going to label the x-axis as well because this time our focus isn't on the y-axis, so we do need to be able to go left to right. All right, let's plot our points. So we've got a focus that's at 1, 2. So that's going to be here, and a directrix that's at 6. So, and I didn't quite label high enough, so let me do that. All right, so our directrix is going to be all the way across right there. All right, now one thing you'll notice is this is different from the others because our directrix is above the focus. So this time we're going to have a parabola that's opening downward. And again, we're just going to kind of sketch what this is going to look like. We'd have a point here, and it might come out like this, and then come down like this. But whatever the case is, we know that there is a point somewhere on this parabola that can be represented by the ordered pair xy. And what we have to do now is decide that this point, which we know for sure, is the same distance, I'll use black, from here as it is from here. And I didn't do a very good job of plotting or drawing my parabola here because it doesn't look like it is, but it has to be by the definition of a parabola. And we usually use d sub d for the distance to the directrix, and we'll use d sub f for the distance to the focus. So what we know right now is that d sub d has to equal that d sub f because it's a parabola. All right, so from here, it's going to start to get very complicated. What we've got to do is give a name or give a value to d sub d. Now, normally, it's just y when our directrix lies on the x-axis. But here, the directrix isn't on the x-axis, it's all the way up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to call this distance has to be 6, right? Because our directrix is at 6. This distance is going to be 6 minus whatever y is. So let me just draw that in so that it makes sense. If this distance is 6 and our point is here, then we've got this section and this section, where this whole thing is 6, this is y, so this is going to be 6 minus y, right? So that's what we're going to call that distance there, 6 minus y, and we can throw that into our equation here. And then to find d of f, or d sub f, we're going to have to use our distance formula. And I've decided to use the point xy as my number 2 point, and 1, 2, which is the value of our focus, as our x1 and y1. All right, so we'll start simplifying this. The first thing I'm going to do is square both sides. And when I square both sides, this is going to end up being 6 minus y squared, so I have to multiply by itself. And then I've just expanded x minus 1 squared and y minus 2 squared. And you notice the radical is gone because we've squared both sides. Next thing we're going to do is expand all this, so it's going to be very long in this next step. Okay, so that's what you get when you expand all this. Remember, you FOIL first, outside, inside, last. For each of these, you'll end up with this giant expression. Now we're going to combine like terms as best as we can. So I'm going to put all my numbers together, and I'm going to group those together on the right-hand side of the equal sign. I'm going to take my y squareds and put those together on the left-hand side of the equal sign. I'm going to bring this negative 4y over with this negative 12y, and then I'm going to leave my x's alone on the right-hand side. And you'll notice some things that happened here is we had our y squareds cancel, because when we subtract it from both sides, they'll go away. The minus 4y got added, so now this is just a negative 8y. We had to subtract 36 from this side, so we ended up with 5 minus 36, so negative 31. And our x terms, we couldn't do anything with those. So the last thing we need to do here is we've got to get rid of that negative 8, so we'll divide everything by negative 8. And what you're left with is y equals, this is going to be a negative 1/8 x squared. This is going to be a positive. We can reduce that to 1/4 x. And this is going to be a positive. There's nothing we can do here. We're just going to have to call that 31/8. And there is the equation of your parabola. It's not as easy as the others. It's a little tricky, but it is the most difficult one, I think, in the homework. So with this, that should help you get all the corrections you maybe need to do to number 2 if you think you might have goofed up on that. Good luck, guys. I'll see you all tomorrow.